He's in our business. He's a radio broadcaster, talk show host. We're in YouTube podcast, but we've been in radio many, many years. Former NFL player Nick Ferguson joins us. How have you enjoyed that transition?
It's been very interesting because being a part of the media was something I never thought I would do, because I kind of looked at you guys, and I guess include myself into it, as being the dark side. I mean, every player looked at media members as like, oh, you guys are just the scum of the earth and you're just evil. You're just looking to break us down every single particular play. But I've since overcome that idea and the perspective, looking at how I looked at the media as a player, because now I'm part of that same group.
Yeah, I've been on your show once before.
Yes.
And, you guys have a fun show. You guys have a really fun show, good energy, fun way to break down things. So, you bring, like, part of it is also, like, you get to see that, like, most of it is just having fun and chopping it up, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the idea, and every program director always says the same thing. Well, we want to pull in the audience and make it seem as though like you're a bunch of guys sitting around at the bar or whatever, just having a routine conversations with. We see them happen all the time, but that's the whole thing. It's about having fun and presenting interesting perspective. And my whole point is, I don't try to tell you what to think as a fan. I'm just going to present the information and the facts, and I'm going to let you make your own determination, because your truth is your truth. You don't have to agree with me, and I don't have to agree with you.
You know, I love how you say that, and this, we're not promoting what we do. We tell stories, we have content, we report, but we've never tried to, like, we argue with our fan base, chat room, but we're not trying to, like, this is how what I'd rather do is give people 9 different angles to a story and let them make up their own mind.
Yeah, because when we see any given play, right, we all see the same play, but how we break it down and look at it and dissect it is entirely different. And that's kind of what I do. Like, I'll sit there and watch a game, and I'll post the video up and showing fans, here's what happened. I know you saw a touchdown, but how was it that Dak Prescott actually found CeeDee Lamb? What route did they run? What kind of split? What other route on the opposite side of the field opened that up? And I try to give that back. And it's so much of a problem in my household that my family, they don't watch football games with me.
Well, oh, really?
Yeah, they won't. My wife calls me, my nickname is Pause-O-Matic, because she said I pause the television too much. Because my whole thing is, I'm trying to educate my family and fans. So my wife is like, well, we can't get through 4 quarters of a game because you're rewinding the same play like 5 times. So they don't watch football with me.
Yeah, they just want to watch a game, right?
They just want to watch it.
What was it like when you played? Did she critique you?
You know what? No, she didn't, because my wife was not a football fan when I met her.
Okay.
And it wasn't until after I retired that she saw the physicality of the game and then asked the questions like, how did you do that? Or why did you do it? Because when I was playing, I met my wife my 6th year in the league. And once again, she didn't like football at all, which made our relationship that much better. But she would just come and just watch games. She didn't really care because she didn't know what she was watching.
Yeah.
But now that I sit there and I try to explain to her, she knows, and sometimes she doesn't like the hits, and she definitely doesn't like when they show the hits over and over again.
Yeah.
So Patrick Mahomes is a singular talent in the way that, I mean, and there's great quarterbacks. Josh Allen's walking around here today. He's great. Like, so many, but he is something ridiculous in that you can never count this guy out for any reason. Last year he hurts his ankle. He can hardly stand up, but he runs 15 yards for a first down and seals a game. What is it like as a defensive back to know that you've done all you can do and then have a quarterback like that just,
Well, the only thing that you can do in that case, make sure that your guy is not the guy that's catching the touchdown or the pass. So when you go back to the sideline, you talk to your defensive coordinator, and he's asking what the hell went on. Not my guy, right? That's the only thing that you can do. And the one thing about it, this league is filled with talented quarterbacks. You mentioned Josh Allen. I just saw him about 2 minutes ago. And when you know that you're playing against a guy who is that versatile, who can run and throw on the move, and we're seeing more of those quarterbacks come into the league, the idea is that we would always say plaster. And that means that you have to keep your eyes on your guy. And I'll tell you, I mean, everyone's trying to figure out how to stop Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes. No one seemed to have figured it out, but guess what? You guys watch the same thing that I've watched, but you guys know the answer to it, but you don't realize you know the answer to it, and I'm going to give it to you. What happens is when Patrick starts to move, defenders, innately, we are drilled into us that we have to find the ball. See ball, get ball. So what happens when the quarterback starts to move, we take our eyes off the guy that we're covering, and our eyes, like a moth to a flame, go right to the quarterback. But guess who he's throwing it to? To that receiver. And Deion Sanders had a favorite saying, see it thrown, see it caught. So the idea of being able to come up with some design plan to stop a Travis Kelce, he is the only thing in your direction. If the quarterback throws the ball, he's got to hit you in the back of the head because all of your attention is on Patrick. On Travis, not on Patrick.
Nick,
and that's one of the issues.
When a pass is completed or intercepted, there's a touchdown or whatever, people just see the play.
Yes.
You're breaking it down. Now, some can do it, but how often is who takes the blame actually the person who should have taken the blame?
It's not the case because I played the safety position. And the one coverage I hate the most is cover two. Because in cover two, you're asking your linebackers and your corners to be on the same page. And just to kind of give your listeners a walk and as far as what that means, if you have two receivers on the same side and you're playing cover two, the corner is taught if the number two receiver inside goes vertical, you take number one like it's man coverage, even though it's a zone concept. Because if you don't, now the safety has two guys on him, and he can't defend a guy running the corner and a guy running the post route. It's hard.
I thought you were that good.
The tone in your voice when you said it's hard.
Yeah.
But look, man, I've really gotten on a lot of corners I played with because they sacrifice us in the back end and being safeties because they're trying to make all these routes, that's underneath the flat routes, the slant routes, because they're saying, and you can ask any DB, when you hear your corner say, I saw something, that means that he's jumping a route that he shouldn't and he's not playing the defense. So my way of making sure the corners understood the message on any given run play, if they're in the way of me making a tackle, I hit them and the runner. Yes.
There you go. Take them up. Now, you see this booklet in front of me. I'll leave it there so they can see it on camera. There's a booklet. I got it right here, Paul. A booklet in front of you. It's called The Truth About Drugs.
Yes.
There's different pamphlets about things to read here. Foundation for a Drug-Free World. We've seen this ruin lives.
Yes.
Take lives.
Absolutely.
Split up lives.
Yes.
What got you involved in this?
Well, I grew up in the inner city of Miami, and there are people in my family who sold drugs and used drugs, and as crazy the dynamic is, there were individuals in my family selling drugs to other family members. So when you grow up and you see it, and like you're defining it, it destroys the family from within. I just said when I was introduced to the foundation that here's something that I can use and I can help my community. And it's funny because several years back, San Francisco and Kansas City played in the Super Bowl in Miami. Marshall Falk, who was a partner with me on this push with Drug Free World, did a speaking engagement with me at my high school at Miami-Jackson, and we spoke to about 3,000 members of the student body, preaching to them the lessons in this book and how we wanted them to make a commitment to themselves. Right? Forget making a commitment to anyone else. You got to make a commitment to yourself before anything else. And if you're looking out for yourself, everything else kind of falls in line. So this whole thing with Drug Free World is to give information back to educators, parents, teachers, and then put it in language that they can understand. And here's the kicker with the program. It is absolutely free. They get outside donations, so they're able to go around and do camps. This past summer, they did about 20 camps. Roquan Smith for the Baltimore Ravens went and did a camp for him. And you just tell us where the camp is, the date, how many booklets, what you need, and we send volunteers out there with you to help educate you and the people that you're doing the camp for.
By the way, the link is drugfreeworld.org. It's easy to remember, drugfreeworld.org.
You mentioned Roquan Smith.
Yes.
I mean, he's a fantastic player.
Yes.
And people talk about that all the time. He's one of the best dudes in the NFL, isn't he? I mean, I saw
Yes,
he did
he is.
when he switched his number, he did the jersey buyback and just said,
Yes.
hey, give it free. You know, I changed it, here it was. Met a ton of fans. He's unique in that the outreach that he does.
Well, you know what? That's one thing that's unique about players in the NFL. There's so many players doing positive things that you don't typically hear about in their region or their market. We always hear the bad things that show up on national television or radio. But Roquan is definitely one of those guys who, you know, understands what his position is in the NFL. Right, like we are blessed to play this game no matter how many years we play, and I just feel compelled to use whatever celebrity I have to attach to any cause that's going to help you, myself, your kids, your grandkids, and Drug Free World is one of those programs.
Nick, let me ask you this, and you were right in the middle of it. You mentioned that. How much is peer pressure involved here as far as kids that just can't get away from it?
It's enormous. I talked to my son who plays lacrosse in Denver, and I told him the biggest thing is you have to be mindful of the people you're around. And there are two things that I was told when I was growing up. Show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. The next thing was your net worth is your network that's based on the people that you know that can assist you in your life in whatever way, direction that you want to. But peer pressure is really, really tough. And you guys went through high school and elementary. Everyone wants to be associated with the group. No one wants to seem as though they're eating at the lunch table by themselves. So what I tell kids is that it is cool to be uncool. Because sometimes to be uncool, you're doing all these things that your parents wouldn't want you to do or approve of. So it's trying to give the power back to the kids to know that you do or you can make a decision in your life that affects you 5, 10, 15 years down the road.
The Truth About Drugs, Nick Ferguson, now a part of radio in Denver. Drugfreeworld.org is the organization. We were going to have you on yesterday. It didn't work out. Thank God we had you on. You're great.
Thank you.
Appreciate all things you're doing and also your personality, what you bring and how you break down the game. And tell your wife and kids we said, well, oh well.
Oh, really quickly. There's only one game that my family will watch with me. It is the Super Bowl because that's one of the games I will not rewind because you want to get through the halftime show.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You fired up for this one, Usher?
Say again?
You fired up for this one? Usher should be a good one.
Yeah, man. I am excited about this because for me, this is big for Kyle Shanahan for a lot of reasons because he's had a lot of teams that got to this point, and, you know, history remembers you in sports for good things and bad things.
Yep.
And right now, he's trying to overcome the idea of being considered Marty Schottenheimer.
Yeah, or Marv Levy.
Yes,
or someone like that that gets to a point, but
never really get over. So I'm really rooting for Kyle Shanahan and my former teammate John Lynch to get that Super Bowl.
Well, Lynch, what he's done there is just crazy.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, one more question. You played next to John Lynch. Hardest hitter you played next to?
Yes. Here's the interesting thing. I played with John for about 4 years in Denver. And in my entire career, I've only been fined one time, and it was $5,000 for socks. And when you play,
socks. Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, they're anal about that.
Right. So when you play next to John Lynch, you know how much stuff you get away with because everyone's always watching him. Yes, exactly.
Nick, God bless you. What you're doing, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And your career and what you're doing now in the broadcast business. The Truth About Drugs. Again, it's drugfreeworld.org. There's the booklet. Nick Ferguson. David Smoke, Paul Catalina, back with more in Vegas.